Oh boy. Welcome back to Below the Rim podcast. This is episode 9. Avery hopped on the pod.
I've been
right on
backstage for like 10 minutes being like, can you hear me?
Anybody. That's
I just had to scroll down. I couldn't see you.
We want to welcome in our newest member, guest host, Jazz Donda.
Yeah, I just got off a comedy show here in Kensington Market in Toronto.
How did it go?
It was good. It was great. I was second. You get somebody else to warm up the audience, and then the second person going up always gets the most laughs. So it was great. I've been exploring comedy, and there's not a lot of brown girls doing comedy, so it's great because I literally just talk about a South Asian woman exploring her sexuality because she was deprived of it from growing up, sex or dicks or anything once as a kid. So I don't know if I can say that on the podcast, but yeah, I didn't go to health class.
You say what you want.
Yeah, I was just a brown girl who didn't know that sexuality existed after university.
I think we found a great new guest host, a great new addition to the pod. Can we get a round of applause, fellas? Finally have a new host on the show, and I get to shut up less. I get to shut up less. I don't know what I'm on right now, but
shut up more.
Smoking that Cali. So, Drew, how you doing, boss? How have the Swiss Alps been treating you?
I've kind of left them in the rearview mirror right now because we're getting down to crunch time right now, and the Leafs are looking pretty strong. We just beat the shit out of the Oilers last night. Connor McDavid was in town, and the whole city was kind of buzzing. But
67 games played. What was it? What was the stat? 67 games played.
And I think he's at 55 goals. See,
Whoa.
He's pissed off because last year Austin Matthews got the MVP and got 60 goals. So Connor McDavid has been pissed off all season right now. He's just trying to rack up the points.
So right now, that's what's going on in hockey.
Do you think we'll make the Stanley Cup finally?
Whoa.
That's a lot to ask because we haven't won. Even
I'm not dissing. Yeah, I'm not dissing Toronto, but
I'm dissing Toronto.
It's a little bit of underlying hatred there. That's all right. I get a lot of that. You'd be surprised how many.
I don't have underlying hatred. My biggest thing is just that, like, for one, I'm not even a hockey fan, and two, that I'm from the Sioux, so more north than you guys, and I find Sault Ste. Marie, shout out. I find that there's a lot of people that jump on, like, I have a buddy that is just like the Raptors are my team because I watch ball, and he's forced into watching basketball.
Oh boy. And there he goes.
And he's from Mac earlier.
There you go. Right there you go. Ryan, go ahead, Jess.
I was going to tell you, there's a joke here in Toronto when American comics come to the city. They're just like, what are the Ottawa Senators? What is the Edmonton Oilers? We've never heard of these people because they don't exist. They don't ever make it down to the NHL finals, right? So, like, Canadian, other than the Toronto Maple Leafs, no one's ever heard of the Ottawa Senators or Edmonton Oilers or even is it Montreal Canucks?
Canadians.
Yeah.
And then
no one's heard of them.
I wonder why Freddie Van Vliet has mental breakdowns in interviews talking about how Toronto gets no respect.
I want to talk about that interview. What do you think about that? I think he had every right to do what he did. Ryan, I want to come back to you about college football right now because I know that's crazy, but kind of diving in with Fred Van Vliet going in saying, I don't care, I'm going to get this fine. Any thoughts? I'll give it to the panel. Ryan, I know you said that you saw the Denver game and it was rigged.
It needed to be said.
Wow.
I'm glad that he came out and said it. $30K to him. He's taking one for the team there. I can respect that. I know the guys in the locker room are really getting behind that. I want to see Toronto make the playoffs. They've been playing the best basketball lately, though. So hopefully this is something that motivates them.
Yeah, they re-signed Jack-Off Pirtle.
You're on mute, Jamal. You're on mute.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Every time Toronto goes to the playoffs in any sport, regardless, rent seems to go up. So I'm gonna say Toronto, go to the playoffs, but stay consistently in the semifinals, or just don't win. No, that's so bad.
Yeah.
But our soccer team is doing really good. That's good. Rent may not increase if we make it back to the next World Cup.
Right.
Yeah,
it's in
soccer looking pretty strong.
World Cup's going to be in Canada next World Cup, so
that would explain why they're building the train station. You hear all the construction that's been happening?
That's crazy.
Come over it.
They've been building that thing for the last 20 years, saying it's going to be ready in 5 years. So it should be exciting.
Question. Do you think we should have more recreational facilities in Toronto?
Oh yeah, they're building a cricket stadium in Brampton. Like all the brown people are finally getting their dream come true. Like they're building one of the biggest cricket stadiums in Brampton.
That's definitely bringing.
That was actually, Jazz, one of the things that we said on one of the last episodes was if we could own a sports team. I said I wanted to own a cricket team,
It's got the most viewers around the world next to soccer.
Walking encyclopedia. All right, but real quick, Ryan.
You'd have to set aside 5 or 6 days in your schedule to watch a game. So I don't know.
Avery's back on. How you doing,
Welcome
boss?
back, Avery.
I'm back.
All right, so real quick about college football, Ryan, what's going on that side of the world right now?
Yeah, well, right now, Alabama men's basketball is number one. Their football team. I mean, I know they didn't make the playoffs last year, but they're up there every single year. So college football wise, Alabama, I got to give it to them right now. Even though I'm an Ohio State boy, I think that in terms of the college football world, the NIL is completely changing everything.
What was it like for you doing that? Going and watching college football games and doing all that. Is it what it looks like? Is it pandemonium?
Man, I wouldn't wake up at 5 a.m. to go tailgate for the Browns, but at Ohio State, oh yeah, it's kegs and eggs. It's backyard parties. It's just a sea of scarlet and gray.
Is that actually a saying? Kegs and eggs?
Kegs and eggs, man. Get up early, go to the bar.
That's fun. What a great saying.
At like 6 a.m. The game's at noon. And then from there, if you could stay out after that, you're really a trooper. But man, it is something that gets you up. It's just the atmosphere on game day in Columbus. You can feel it Friday night. Like you'll take it easy Friday night, so you can get up nice and early Saturday and really hit it hard.
Wow.
Man, I have some videos I could show you guys. A little Snapchat. I'll actually send it to the group. You could probably throw it in the video.
There you go.
It'll give the viewers nothing.
I feel like Americans actually have better college football, soccer, everything than Canadians. No one's ever heard of a Canadian college or university going anywhere other than the Vanier Cup. Other than that, I went to Laurier, it's a football university, and our kegs were pretty wild, but nothing compared to the States. You guys, it's just like a next level party.
That's exactly what
It's a part of the culture there.
It is the culture. You will go to schools for this team has a good football program. I want to go there right now. And some teams that, I can think back to Texas hasn't had a good program in a couple of years, but they're a notorious school, a lot of history behind them. When they were good in 2007, 2008, there's schools that are good for a couple of years. So the people that you can talk to someone and say, yeah, I went to UT during 07, 08. And you'll be like, you got to see Vince Young. What was that like? Wow. I mean, these guys are just legends on campus too. So everybody, if you see him, always in my math class, he's in statistics, whatever it may be. But just to see
no one's scouting out Canadians out here, right? No one's going to a Canadian football at University of Ottawa and be like, yo, I'm going to find the next superstar out here.
Yeah. Even the Canadian basketball players are going down south.
Sorry, go Drew. A cousin of mine was invited to Florida State University homecoming, and I went down there with him. I actually met work done, and just to see the level of the parties down there, you guys probably wouldn't believe it. I guess it's comparable to Caravana weekend in Toronto.
Caravana's lit.
In one spot.
Florida State's
Caravana's crazy.
Americans go big. They go big, and I think they put more money into it. So obviously they're going to get the residuals out of it. And I think with the marketing too, you got ESPN. They have so much sports stations and all that promoting. They promote their Columbines. We don't promote none of this. So imagine, unless you're in that rabbit hole, you'll see it. But we don't really promote our athletes.
We promote the chess club though.
Right?
The chess club is bigger. The chess club and the spelling bee is way bigger in Canada than anything else.
Maybe we're not a sports country, are we?
We're definitely not a sports country.
I think Canada's a sports country. It's just in comparison to America. It's just
if you're talking only hockey, we're a sports country. And curling,
we had the record for 100 meters.
We fucking kill it at curling, yo.
We had the record in rowing, Silken Lauman.
I think this country
going right now in track and field. You can't even beat.
It's got potential. I just think that we don't put enough money towards scholarships and stuff like that, the way the US does, the way they're scouting and they have a proper system. They actually they encourage students to come out, because if they can't get an education based on their academics, at least they can get a scholarship based on their talent. And that's really important, right? Especially for low income families. And We have talented athletes here in Canada. They just don't get the opportunity. No one's paying attention to them.
Exactly, no incentive.
Yeah, Americans are obsessed with like the next phenom. They want to see the next phenom, and now they're able to. These colleges are able to pay players certain amounts of money to come to the school. So it makes, I think, everybody a little more competitive because just you don't know how rich these boosters are. Some booster could come in and say, you know what, if you give us $50,000 to pay this kid, it can make the difference in the recruiting class, and he can come here and play for UT, and that's all because of you. So a booster can really influence a program now. It's something.
What's a booster? Sorry,
a booster Canadian. Is someone that like the Winklevosses, how they went to Harvard and they're super rich and they give money back, or like a really rich alumni,
like an investor basically is what. Yeah,
you're saying. Okay.
Not really an investor, but like who's the dude that invented Nike?
Jordan, you were basketball.
Phil, was it Phil?
Phil Knight, and he's at Oregon, so Oregon's facilities are all decked out in Nike, the nicest stuff, just because he was so happy with his time at Oregon that he gave all this money back. So kind of boosters in that, like someone that just gives back to the university.
Didn't OSU or no OU, didn't they have like a big he just passed away a few years ago, but he donated a whole bunch of money to University of Oklahoma, I can't remember his name though.
Yeah, I forget his name, but I know you're talking about because they use so much of that money.
And the stadium is named after him too, right?
Pretty sure I could.
Yeah.
And
what were you saying?
Bring up a good point. Even when I was in high school, any offers I got for basketball was like the Pickering College, like Brock University. I got one offer to Pennsylvania. And it's just like we don't have any eyes coming to Toronto. So like you said, Jazz mentioned, there's no incentives. Like there's nothing like enticing these players to like go all out.
Yeah, there's no scholarships for anything in this country other than like if you went to Africa to help volunteer or during a summer camp or something. Like I went to a very, very low income high school with a lot more violence, and like there's so many amazing basketball players on our school teams, but none of those kids got an opportunity to go pro or try out.
Yeah,
I think it's getting better though. Like I think the programs in Canada, like Orangeville Prep, it's becoming more of like a thing where they're having a better opportunity to get to prep schools or junior colleges, to get to the D1s or the D2s, and then they can either go to the G League or they can, even go play overseas if they don't make it to the league.
There's really like no one to come out of Orangeville though. Fucking the only kid that I know that played there for a while was like Thon Maker, and Thon Maker, I think, is out of the league.
He's not even in the league anymore.
Yeah.
T. Boone Pickens is the guy who was the biggest donor. Ryan T. Boone Pickens.
That's what I was about to say. That name. He had a nice, a memorable name. I'll say that.
T. Boone Pickens.
Did you guys? I don't know if you guys watched this movie during TIFF. It was called Black Ice. It was.
I heard of that.
Drake produced it with. With Vinay Vermani. Saw that at TIFF. Incredible documentary outlining the struggles of even
the first black player in NHL history.
The first black team in NHL history, and how they dug it out, and where most of today's rules in hockey go back to existing times during that time period. If it wasn't for the first black hockey team, some of the rules in the National Hockey League that exist today, it was created by them. And so this documentary outlines like the origins of hockey from the Black Ice League first, and how it's come to today and how they deserve that recognition. Also, a lot of black kids don't have access to hockey or to be able to play hockey because it's so bloody expensive. And so there's organizations creating opportunities for kids to be able to go and play hockey just because their parents can't afford it, and offering those leagues. Because if you're in a locker full of white kids, right, no offense to the white people here, like if you're a colored kid among a whole team of white kids, you feel awkward. My brother played hockey. My brother has a turban, and he always felt awkward in the locker room with the guys because he wore a turban. Wow. So the struggles of colored folks playing hockey, which has been dominated by Caucasians for the longest time, and those barriers are finally breaking. And that documentary does a really good job of highlighting that, and how the struggles of black ice hockey players from day one, they were never allowed to join the NHL.
PK Subban, I was watching an interview with him on the Pivot, and he came from, I can't remember where his parents came from, but when they came, the West Indies. And then when he went to Sudbury, shout outs to Sudbury, Drew, you know Sudbury very well. Beautiful summers in Sudbury. They went there and and all they knew was like hockey. That's all they played. And his parents, his dad in particular, wanted him to be Canadian, so that's why he played hockey, and he wanted his boys to be good at it. You know what I mean? Drew, you wrote, and thanks for sharing that, Jazz. You're, like I said, a walking encyclopedia. We're gonna work on the lighting, and we're gonna, but Drew, real quick, I don't know how much you can talk about it, but you were working on a screenplay at one point where it was like a comedy about a Black Irish hockey player. I don't want to go too much without giving it all away.
It's funny you mentioned that. I wrote that script about 15 years ago. Do you remember what the title of it was?
It was very funny.
Yeah, the title was Black Ice. If you really want to break it down, I was actually contacted by my sister, who's a lawyer, one day, and she was kind of freaking out on the phone telling me that someone stole my idea, and she hopes that I had copywritten my script, which it is copywritten. The only thing is my script was more based on a person, his story of how he went from minor leagues all the way through the farm teams and tried to get in the NHL and was held back from getting a chance, because if you kind of look at the NHL over the years, when you're a minority in the league, it seems like they always seem to be the fighters on the team. There's been a few instances where minorities actually were a star player, like you have Jerome McGinley. Right now there's a guy named Evander Kane on the Oilers. Those guys are actually given a chance on the top line and they produce, but for the most part, the black players in the NHL were fighters. So yeah, my script kind of focused on that, how a guy wasn't getting an opportunity to really be the scorer that he was naturally, and he was forced to be a fighter. But the Black Ice story that is now out there, that was in TIFF and so forth, I think it was produced by Drake, and if I'm not
LeBron, right? LeBron too?
LeBron, that's right. Yeah.
And Vinny Vermonti helped coordinated it. Yeah.
Man, right. From what I understand, it's a documentary style film. Mine wasn't, so yeah, it's a little different.
That documentary does outline that the minorities get picked on by the white boys in the locker room, get called a name, and if they lose their cool, and they have to behave a different way than the white kids because the expectation of them to fail is much higher. And if a kid says something to them, nobody gets punished. But if the minority kid does something out of league, they get punished. They'll get suspended or taken off the team. And it's just about the racial profiling that exists within even sports teams behind the locker rooms and the things like that. So your documentary, you can still, your fiction thing that you've written, you can actually still do that.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I think,
definitely. It's not,
I think to
like
kind of
something that can't be done for sure. It's not like they own the name Black Ice, right? It's just kind of a weird coincidence for sure.
Or just add something to it like Black Ice, the Drew, something.
Or if I had a big star, someone like a Jordan Johnson Hinds to play.
You know what I mean? Or a Jamal Johnson, or or Avery Adamo or something. Jazz, shout outs to Ryan Poyle. You keep forgetting you're on mute, brother.
Yeah, I'm pushing buttons over here. Okay, so what we can do to some of these viewers, because in one of our podcasts I talked about I always wanted to play hockey. I would have been the best goalie in the world, but the equipment was too expensive. So we should set up a GoFundMe. Anybody watching this video, if you want to donate some money and become a sponsor for somebody in Ontario, let's spread it out to Canada. Right. This could be something that could potentially turn into something.
Yeah, good charity work, right? That's how you combat it. So I just want to real quick get into basketball because that was pretty much a cool little NHL update. I feel like we're getting more into NHL, which is pretty cool. Like I'm working on getting some updates. Yeah, I'm getting some people to come on for the tennis update. But Avery, real quick, I wanna hear your thoughts on the spread that I sent. I was off by 2. The Clippers won. You said the Clippers weren't going to win.
How far? Okay, wait. The last one that we did.
Let me finish, Ave. Let me finish, Ave. And then the other one. What was the other one? And then the Grizzlies.
Don't you dare.
He's out. So we had Drew do an impersonation. We had Jamal do an impersonation. I've done impersonation. Jazz, we're not going to get you to do an impersonation yet.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ryan Poyle, it is your turn to do an impersonation. But Jazz, you get to pick who he has to impersonate, and Ryan, you just have to go for it.
That's a new twist. Okay.
Be nice, Jazz. Be nice.
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods. Here we are, folks. Do you think I should use your 3-wood? I don't know about that. If you can hit the ball like me, I think you should drive it off the deck. What do you think about that, Charlie? This is me talking to my son, Charlie Woods, here. All right.
That was great. Below the Rim podcast.
I'm glad Avery's not here for this.
No, that was great. Don't forget to
subscribe,
and comment. We'll be right back after these commercial break. Below the Rim podcast.
Oh, I would have accepted that, or when he crouches down and he does this.
Right. That was great. Right, that was great. So Jazz, real quick. So we want to get into. We'll wait for Avery to come back to get into basketball. But real quick, what are and Jamal? Maybe you can kind of hop in on this. But diet. How important is diet for when you want to have certain physical goals or workout goals? How important is diet and consistency in the type of working out that you do to balance everything and get that result?
I would say that diet is almost everything. I've told you this before, right? Like I almost died 7 years ago. We're not going to get into that right now, but
God forbid.
I went to like 50 doctors and hospitals and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. All I needed was D3. Literally, that was the only thing I needed. And so now today I work out 5 days a week. My diet is completely changed. How much you eat and what you eat defines how long you're going to live, your energy and everything, including your sex performance as well. So, make sure you get your fruits and veggies in like the certain amount that you're supposed to have. Cut out the processed foods because they're not good for you. You're spending more money on processed foods than anything. Take multivitamins, but if you're going to buy multivitamins, make sure they're, made from an organic company and they're not got chemicals in them and stuff. But you can get most of your vitamins from just eating food. Different diets are different for different reasons, whether you're doing like a keto diet, if you're having a vegetarian or vegan diet. If you're going to be vegan and vegetarian, make sure you're getting your B12 from a supplement because meat only gives you that. You can't get B12 from anything else unless you're going to eat crickets. And crickets can only give you so much B12.
Jamal is a vegan. And he was in the ate crickets in the Fear Factor competition that he did at Universal Studios that he won.
So then make sure you're taking your B12 then because
I want to mention with B12, I got my blood results for all my levels. The interesting thing about B12, you can't increase or decrease your B12. It's actually at a level. So I took too much B12 and I was showing symptoms of someone with low levels of B12. And my number one issue when I became a vegan was my B12 levels and all that stuff. So I feel more optimal on a vegan diet. But on a meat diet, I do feel it would help with somebody in like boxing or MMA and stuff like that. But the diet does affect everything. It does affect in the bedroom as well. So like,
how do you guys? What are your views on proteins, like whey protein isolate?
It depends on honestly.
The workout?
I love whey protein.
Yeah,
I think again,
muscle milk.
I think it depends on what your allergies are. You have to find out the hard way because I did something called an autoimmune protocol diet. So where I had to eliminate everything to find out what I was allergic to. And what I learned is that I'm lactose intolerant. I can't stand dairy. I can have it in small amounts. And I also can't handle my gluten. It always gets me bloated. No matter how much I work out, I was always bloated. Cut out gluten and dairy and I could see my six pack again, So there are proteins out there. I prefer beef protein powder. I think there's an amazing company. Yeah, I prefer beef protein powder because you don't need to take your your amino acids are in there. It's a complete protein powder. And the beef one is the best one that I've tried.
Interesting. Avery, first off, you got to crawl before you walk, brother. You got to crawl before you walk. Calm down. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Jamal, go ahead.
I used a vegan protein shake. What I'm noticing every time I research, the long-term effects of any protein shake doesn't outweigh the benefits. So like you're gonna get your temporary gains, you get your calories. Obviously, it's a meal replacement. But what people look at me like,
in the long run, it doesn't work.
It's impossible to put on weight as a vegan. How did I gain more weight on a vegan diet than I did on a meat diet?
But that's because you're having way too many carbs. That's the problem with the vegan diet.
The vegan diet, I was more raw than actual vegan, and I was putting on weight. The thing is, when your body is getting And then also too, your diet should directly correlate with your blood. You know what I mean? Like if you're eating as if you're a hunter or a warrior, but you shouldn't be eating like that, you're gonna have long-term effects. So I think every individual, your health is your genetic sequence. Like your fingerprint is your genetic marker. Everyone's health should be catered to their individual DNA. Your diet catered to you. Andrew's diet, my diet will never be the same because we have two different DNAs. We have two different mentalities. And I think once we get into a more conscious reality, we'll start catering our diet towards an individual instead of towards the majority. Well, that's just my little 2 cents.
You definitely wouldn't want to be using my diet because McDonald's drive-thru right now, it pretty much has my tire tracks embedded inside of it. But
actually, fun fact about McDonald's. About McDonald's, their French fries are actually gluten-free.
Wow.
Did you guys ever try badger milk?
What?
I don't.
Like you're milking a bird, like a badger, like a bird badger?
Yeah, badger milk. You guys never tried badger milk?
That's crazy. I feel like that's
a real thing.
How do you milk a bird?
What's that show with
Dylon?
Dylon, get the badger milk.
Five best rappers of all time. Dylon, and Dylon.
Albert Williams.
I've seen the Fockers movie, but I didn't know you could milk a bird.
What that scene when he paints Minx's tail, and it's like I got him.
It's off the Animal. You ever see The Animal with Rob Schneider?
Badger milk so good. Yeah.
And then he turns into like a freak of nature, basically, and could do everything.
I want to get into.
Do you guys remember The Simpsons where they're milking rat milk in the back?
I feel like I do. Yeah.
Hey, if you're not as a vegan, if you're not making your milk yourself or your almond milk, you don't know where it's coming from.
Can you do the vegan cheese? I heard you guys like vegan cheese.
With
vegan chick it's the worst thing for you. It's so processed. Even vegan butter is so bad for you.
I have a question.
Milk anything with nipples.
This is to the panel. What time is the best time for you to wake up? When is the most optimal time for you to wake up in the morning to be the most productive?
6 a.m.
What? Yeah, I wake up about 4:30, 5 a.m.
5 a.m.
What?
I'm at 7:45ish.
Yeah.
You wake up at 4 a.m.?
7 hours of sleep. Yeah, every day. Yeah, ask these guys. I'm always texting in the group chat at like random hours in the morning. But real quick, I wanna keep it moving. I want to get into the NBA real quick. Okay, there we go. So,
Wait,
right.
Is Vince Carter still playing in the NBA?
Hit him with the flush. Hit her with the flush. Flush.
Initiator to the podcast.
Welcome to the pod. Ryan, real quick, what's going on in the NBA? Fred VanVleet and NBA refs. KD got injured. What?
KD getting hurt during warm-ups. How about that?
Please,
that might be the only reason they don't win it this year.
That's crazy.
It's tough to see a team trade for a guy mid-season and then them go on to win the championship, let alone them play a handful of games before the playoffs even start. I think that is that slippery floor. I don't know what ball boy or what guy should be fired over that, but I think that's going to be the most detrimental blow to them.
That's history.
I remember I raised a point with you earlier this week on text there, Jordan, when I was telling you I've noticed ever since Kevin Durant turned his back on the Christian boy Steph Curry, it seems like he's had a curse over his head, man. He goes to teams that just fall apart, or he gets hurt back to back, while Steph Curry is just smiling his way to championships and MVPs.
After championships, right.
Right.
Do you think that's like a correlation, like players that get injured, like it's like karma or something that comes back around? I don't know.
Man,
I've always
right about now.
Base God put a curse on.
That's all I'm saying.
So okay.
I think it's like the WWE sometimes. I think it's like the WWE sometimes where it's like pretend and they do get an injury on purpose, so they get a payout. So once in a blue moon, if there's an injury, it's fake.
Damn.
That's my theory.
That's a bold theory.
Sometimes it's just to get a payday, right?
Gambling. The what's that? The ref that they got the documentary on Tom Donaghy. Can y'all talk about it? Like, what do you think? How deep does it go? because sometimes I was watching this interview, and it was a guy, a big gambler that kind of, was running that whole thing. And it was like, they said that, some of these games were rigged, and fans would call it out and say, this game is rigged. And sometimes it was obvious. How deep does it go? Drew, talk about that. Avery, can you talk about some of the stories or rumors you've heard about the gambling craziness of college sports and professional sports?
I think the main story.
To me, it just makes sense, right? You got in the college, you have players that aren't making a lot of money. If a mobster or whoever would come along and give them an offer of thousands of dollars to miss a free throw, a lot of the times it doesn't necessarily mean you have to lose a game. Sometimes you just have to keep the game within a certain score.
Spread,
you
right?
Win a game. Right, so you could actually still win the game and not go against the quote unquote unwritten rules of fair play and win money on the side. Obviously, you're not going to go up to someone like LeBron James and be able to offer him money to throw a game because the guy's a billionaire. There's no amount that's going to be worth more than what he's making to go against.
So do you believe the Jordan story?
What's the Jordan story?
His father?
Yeah, that he took bets and that fucking he had a gambling debt. So that's how his father died.
I just heard that.
If they have a cocaine or diet or something, if they got a certain lifestyle they got to support and they're not doing so well in the game, and some people can be bought, right? If they're not in love with the game and they got some bad things that happen to them and they got a certain lifestyle to live up to, maybe they can be easily be bought and their values aren't not for the game.
Some of the athletes aren't even throwing away the games over money. Like, oh, me and this player got in an argument. You know what? I'm just not going to take up this shot. But one of the reasons
it's like an East Side West Side war. East Side West Side war.
I did stop watching sports for a little bit when I thought there were politics involved, but I never thought it was like script. The politics are definitely something I believe is still strong, and
it's part of the dramatics of it. It's part of the.
And like Kyrie Irving mentioned that people are like paying more attention to the betting aspect more than the actual game.
Yeah.
So that's what it is now. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make some money off of this.
Can we get like a quick update on some stats, Avery? What are, because please just give us some power rankings. Who's slipping in the power rankings? Who's gaining traction? Memphis is sliding a bit. Dylan Brooks is talking more shit than he's playing. You know what I mean? He's playing well, but
they're talking about Ja having a bigger suspension.
Boy.
Yeah, they're talking about Ja having a bigger suspension than the initial. So Memphis' suspension was, I think, just a 3-game suspension, and then the league is apparently talking about giving him a suspension too.
What for?
And basically for the gun waving thing.
Like, what is that? Like, why is that illegal? Like, why is
that's what I'm saying?
That's what I said, actually.
Especially in
funny.
America.
I was like, guns are legal in the States, like very legal. They have the gun policies in the States are actually pretty crazy. We're not going to get into that shit.
Get out of the stand of the weed.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just setting a bad example.
All he did was really,
you're
he had
raising
a gun
interesting point
and just
here,
waved
right?
it around on camera, and basically the league saying that they have a 0 gun policy, and they're just not.
I think
they don't want to associate with it.
You have fans of this guy, right? You have a lot of young kids out there that look up to Ja Morant. He's obviously one of the new breed of NBA star, right? You got guys like Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James in their 30s. Who are obviously on the way out. The league has to promote young stars to keep the game alive. And Ja Morant is probably the most popular young star. I have a niece who's about 8 years old, and he's her favorite player. So imagine you have a bunch of kids out there looking up to this guy, and they jump on his IG story and see him waving a gun around at a club.
You just brought up a good point.
Right? The league's thinking that now these kids are going to want to emulate that. Is that something these kids are going to think they have to do to be cool? Their idol is doing it. Why wouldn't they want to do it?
100%.
Okay, you said Steph.
I think that's a way to throw your career away, though, right?
But what I was saying is, what if they're trying to get the negative promotion? Like before 90s, 2000, it was all about a clean resume. Now they want that bad boy look, They're promoting the bad aspects. It's going to promote bad things for the kids to do, but maybe that's the the lane they're going in now. All the advertising is so like dark and twisted now. Like everybody's on this whole like no sharing, no loving kind of thing. So why not promote the athletes who are doing that? And I think that's it's like full circle.
Maybe it's the Illuminati thing after the NFL after Rihanna's performance.
It's like more so like fair sells. You know, like one of the number one waters is called Liquid Death. That's the number one water brand right now, and it's in a can, and they sell water. But Death sells. So I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe it's the marketing, but I think all you guys are pointing out some amazing.
No,
points,
100%. I don't know if you guys remember after Rihanna's performance. Like I remember the next day after Rihanna's performance, it was nothing but like Christians and like saying, "Oh, it's a cult. It's all about the devil. It was a devil's performance. It was a devil worship." It's like it's just a football game, and it was just a performance. How about that? I don't know. It's like I feel like after a football game or any sort of big show, like people come and attack it. It's just a game.
I think it's like
it's all about that rock, throwing up that rock.
Now they're gonna say we're a part of it. Now because you did it on the show. Damn it, Drew.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So y'all acting like sorry.
But while I was searching around on YouTube, I stumbled across the Rolling Loud concert that's going off in Los Angeles right now. And the first guy I heard people trying to tear apart was Playboy Carti, how he has such dark satanic imageries and music is so dark. And then I saw Little Uzi Vert performance with crosses behind him and the red triangle outfit. There you go. Wow. I just want to rock.
That actually looked dope what you were doing. So I don't, you know what I mean? That's no. We're out in LA right now. Where we are is the complete opposite of satanic. I'll tell you that right now because we are in Topanga Canyon. Overlooking the power of Jesus is here right now, you know, and we're overlooking the mountain. There's clouds and all that stuff, but I'll tell you this: me and Jamal yesterday. We were at our Uncle John's house. He doesn't like to be called Uncle John. He's a player. No, I'm joking. He's a G. John. So you know, we're at his John and Pam. And they just sold their house in Central Park West in New York. So they had the picture I put in the group chat. So they had a bunch of art, cultured, like just amazing art pieces. And we're there. So we're talking about Formula One. What are your thoughts about Formula One? What was the rule that John said, Jamal, about you can't finish the race?
You have to finish with less gas than you started.
Do you guys think Formula One is something that you would want to kind of get into a little bit more? Like what do you think the difference is between NASCAR and Formula One? I know we're going left field right now. Ryan, what's your thoughts?
Partying, brother. NASCAR. ain't nothing going past NASCAR in terms of racing here in the United States.
I like
that's a problem.
It's another left turn.
Formula One collector cards are worth more money than NASCAR cards. I know that.
It's Talladega Nights says it all. That's
Talladega Nights.
Ricky Bobby.
Shake and bake.
Ford vs. Ferrari. That's a good movie. I'm pretty sure that was an IndyCar movie that I watched. I saw that on a plane. But NASCAR.
That movie actually was sick.
Yeah, it was a great movie. The culture behind NASCAR here. I'm not a NASCAR guy myself. I don't know much about it. But if you're a NASCAR fan, you're a diehard NASCAR fan. There are many casuals.
Is there a connection between, because you watch European soccer, football, and so that's why I was asking you first, because Formula One and then European football kind of synonymous, no? Like kind of.
You know,
I'd agree with that.
NASCAR driver now, a Formula One driver now.
Are you serious? Wow.
I remember.
Have you ever hit one of the racetracks? Any of you guys?
I hit I haven't. No, I hit the go-kart.
I've never even been to a horse race.
Oh wow!
Now, which one of these events was Bubba Wallace involved with? Wallace, because I remember controversy a couple years back with someone leaving a gift on.
It was the Indy 500. It was the Indy 500.
I mean, and that's another thing too. NASCAR.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
Yeah, that wasn't a coincidence.
I'm sure it was.
That's what they said. Yeah, it was a coincidence, you know. But yeah, I remember I was doing the Toronto Indy, and I was working. It was when I was like 18, and Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle. You know, remember the show that Bryan Cranston was on before he did Breaking
Yeah, he's
Bad?
big in
Right.
racing.
Yeah, I remember. And he's short, like he's tiny, man. He's
Yeah.
tiny. Yeah. So Jazz, real quick, tennis. Do you have any advice, any thoughts on tennis? I know I'm putting you on the spot. So
Don't play tennis like you play badminton. It's two different hand formations. And when you're taking tennis lessons, don't hit your coach in the head. That's one thing I learned when I took tennis lessons for a little bit. Badminton is for like, at home with your family that are immigrants because that's all you can afford. But if you can take tennis lessons, honestly, it's such a good cardio sport. But the hand movement is so different.
I was actually
you know
on the
what game I
badminton
really
team one time.
hate? And I'm
Ping pong.
oh yeah.
Pickleball.
Ping pong team. No, you know that game when you go to the gym and you're in a trapped room with a ball that bounces off the walls? What's that called?
Squash. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like squash. All the Indians play it, man. Like they love squash, and by the time they come out of there, they're all sweaty and everything, and they're hoping to lose weight. They don't, man. They're just as big as they get into that squash
No,
room.
that's funny. I was gonna ask you to
It's like
do
a death trap game.
a little set, like a little set before you left, but there it was. I mean, it's nonstop, and we're gonna. So I'll say this.
Improv is always best.
I'd be remiss if I didn't do this for my dad because he said he wants this on the pod. So he said 90% of the teams need rebuilding. Get rid of the old, broken down, overpaid players. Get young players who need to play for their money. 5 players and play your bench. So what do you think about that? Do you think these older guys?
This was your dad's take?
That's what his take was.
Okay, so your dad's take is 90% of the league is too old. They need to boot 90% of the league, and
he's saying more so like
young kids.
Like
That's what your dad's saying.
He's saying the Kevin
I'm
Durant.
astonished with this take.
He's saying the Kevin Durants, the LeBron James, they get paid so much money. Stop paying them so much money and start focusing on your core and your younger team and develop that.
I think your dad. No, I agree with your dad on that we need more people like Kobe Bryant who came in with a hunger and hustle. No, hold on. I was watching a documentary on Kobe Bryant this morning, and that dude had heart and hunger. He didn't go on vacation. He was dedicated to the game. When a group of the guys from the team would go on vacation together and party, he was in the gym hitting it and training. We need more of those kind of players that are hungry and dedicated to the game.
Life, like we knew that we were gonna maybe pass in the next 10 years. Imagine how much more we'd get accomplished.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Amen.
Now, did you ever hear the controversial story about how Kobe Bryant had an energy drink that was out, and once he found out some of the ingredients that were in the energy drink, he wanted his name removed from the label? And
yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, he was in the process of suing the nutrition board, I believe. And while his lawsuit was being handled, that's when he died. I don't know if you guys ever heard anything about that. Look it up, though. It's pretty crazy.
I never heard that.
Sometimes it's that's deep shit going on underneath there.
Well, yeah. This is why it's good on the pod to kind of get different views, man. Like it's take it or leave it. You don't have to take it for, it could be face value, it could be a load of crap, or it could just be a thought, So I got to go pick up my missus from the airport. And
I'm all about the thoughts, Jordan. I'm all about the thoughts. You know that.
A double entendre.
You know what? If Indian people could be tall enough to play basketball, we would dominate the NBA. But we're pretty short.
So so we're gonna go We're gonna go into our final thoughts. Our final thoughts, Jazz, because you're our new special guest. You have a minute.
I was gonna just say that as a woman who doesn't know a lot about sports, I know a lot of facts about sports. Also admire people like Kobe Bryant. I agree with your dad. We need more players who have heart and hunger. And if we all live life like Kobe Bryant, we get a lot more shit done. That's my 60 seconds. And we need more Indians and sports teams. Cricket.
Avery, 60 seconds. Go.
60 seconds. Okay. Final thoughts. Your dad's take is insane. Okay. I hope you show your dad this. He is an older man Why is he upset with older people being on basketball teams? You should be happy that LeBron and Udonis Haslem and all these guys are getting paid. That's not a bad thing, okay? That makes no sense to me. What is he thinking? And other than that, that's really all I got. You need to show your dad this. That was ridiculous. I'm upset with the take. Fuck.
This is great. Ryan, 60 seconds.
I don't need 60.
Yeah, I don't need a full 60 either. I'm just excited for NFL free agency this week. A lot of big pieces are going to be moved. I think Aaron Rodgers ends up joining us here in the Big Apple. I think he comes and joins the Jets. I think my Cleveland Browns make a few splashes on defense, maybe add a veteran wide receiver, and we begin our quest towards the Super Bowl. It really starts tomorrow, so really looking forward to seeing Aaron Rodgers, maybe as I walk into Finn's Bagels later this week or down the road. But yeah, it's NFL free agency is a fun time, and draft's right around the corner as well. So prediction for March Madness, by the way, with my 30 seconds, I am taking Alabama.
Wow. Very well done.
18 seconds left.
Drew, 60 seconds.
Thank you for my 60 seconds. I appreciate it. What first thing I want to do is give a special congratulations to my Kansas Jayhawks, who once again going into the tournament, not only being defending champions, but they're also a number 1 seed in their division. So I want to give a shout out to the Kansas Jayhawks. And the second shout out I want to give is to Michael B. Jordan. I recently watched the movie Creed 3.
$100 million. Go ahead.
$100 million gross in 1 week, I believe, or is it 1 weekend? It cost $75 million to make. I believe it was his directorial debut in a feature film. And it was a tight job, man. The movie was pretty tight. It was exciting all the way through. It does have a few side stories to it. His daughter having a handicap with the hearing, his mother, Felicia Rashad, facing health issues. It had some nice side stories. The script was pretty tight. The action was tight. And I recommend the movie. I gave it 4 popcorns out of 5.
Oh,
wow.
Perfect. Not bad.
Wow.
Not bad.
Great final thought. Loving it. Jamal, go ahead. Final thought. 60 seconds.
Final thought. If you done it, if you did it, shut up. There's a lot of athletes in the tabloids and they're getting thrown under the bus for doing this and doing that. If you were to put a microscopic camera in our lives, none of us could say anything. So what makes it okay or right for us to do it to them when they get on the, you know what I mean? So that's my final thoughts. If you've done it, if you've done drugs, or if you went to a strip club, or if you've done this, you have nothing to say, and you should never badmouth anyone else who does it. It's very, very hypocritical, and I think we need to abolish that. And that's my final thoughts.
Whew.
Did you go and punch a 17-year-old kid in the face?
I'm trying to make a meaningful. You know what? I'm gonna do it tonight. No.
All right, I got 60 seconds. Okay, 60 seconds. I don't know, man. Today I'm feeling good because Clippers won. Lakers are winning. I'm excited to see what Aaron Rodgers does. Shout outs to Jamal. Hey, yeah. He's my brother. And I'm glad we talked about Aaron Rodgers and I'm excited for the NFL free agency and I don't know. I'm just happy to be here. Grateful to be here. God is good. I love you, Jaden. Yeah. Shout out to my son. That's it.
Nice. With 16 seconds left.
There you go. So with that,
You have a kid?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So
I did not know that.
So that brings us to the end of our episode of Below the Rim podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and hit the little notification bell. And until next time, what we gonna do? I'm Jordan Johnson Hinds.
I'm Jamal.
Ryan Poyle.
Avery, freeze every 5 seconds.
My name is Jazz Danda, comic, actor, Toronto.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Yo, I gotta get going. I gotta go pick Haley up from the airport. So
Bye, guys.
Peace, people.
No. Oh, sorry.